Welcome back to Rockstock Channel. It is Monday, Inauguration Day, and Martin Luther King's Day. So I'm here in Vancouver, and behind me, the Canada Place, and reminiscing a little bit. It's been about 6 years since I've been to Vancouver, and about 15 years since I've been to this Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. But I got RK a pretty start. Was connected to that Canada Place business. Ivanhoe Mines, the original Ivanhoe Mines in Mongolia. I used to visit here regularly back in 2002, 3, 4, 5. So it's beautiful scenery over here. I was very fortunate. I brought my kids here, staying with a good friend of mine who we'll interview shortly, Jay Shamalaskis, who we represented with a gold mine in China before he then sold that and transitioned to found Western Lithium, which is the Thacker Pass project today. So we'll talk with him a bit, but reminiscing, and we're going to be doing a couple of videos of some companies that I find interesting here, both in the lithium space and the copper space, and maybe, some others here. I'm here in Vancouver with Blake Highlands of Lithium Ionic. We're here at the VRIC, Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, and you've been coming here, some 7 years. So what's the vibe in general at this conference in Vancouver and for Lithium Ionic specifically?
Yeah, I mean, Lithium Ionic is a great vibe always, but this conference is as busy as I've ever seen it. I was saying to somebody, I was here about 3 years ago, kind of post-COVID, and you could roll a ball down the aisle and not hit a person, and it's not like that today. I mean, yesterday and today have been slammed, busy, lots of interviews, lots of interest. I think maybe it's the sign of a very good year or two ahead of us, so it's a good sign. And it's Lithium Ionic, we're going to have a busy year. We got permit on the way. We just put out a new resource on our second property, Beisha Grande, which is still growing up in the Slinks area, right next door to Pilvar's acquisition of land resources. That asset alone should be worth more than our market cap right now. So doesn't even consider the over $1 billion project in Andera we have to the south. We're going to start the process of introducing a new build team. Really excited to bring them on board. They're going to be very recognizable. I think people are going to really appreciate the validation that's going to bring to our project. After that permit, you're going to see us order a DMS plant and start the process of constructing. I mean, we have a project that makes money even in this environment. Prices are starting to get better. I think we're going to see 26, 27 be very, very interesting for lithium. And we'll be ready to go. So really, really excited. It's going to be a busy first 6 months of the year. It's going to be a huge 2025 for us. Stock's starting to behave. Things are starting to move in the right direction, and we're looking forward to it.
So tell us about the U.S. Export-Import Loan and the program, because that kind of came out of nowhere there have been various arms of the U.S. government that have been lending and granting money to various things, but I didn't see the U.S. Export-Import Bank for a Canadian company with a Brazilian project.
Yeah, look, we were initially introduced to them by a large U.S. automotive, actually, and we talked to them for a long time. We mentioned Southcom in that press release, and Southcom really was a big part also, the military complex of the U.S. government stepping in and saying, we want this material, we need this material. This is some of the cheapest, highest quality material in the world. Exim step in and let's make this happen. Exim announces last week, really, really important. I can't stress this enough, that they're going back to having the import arm of this be the only key element to unlocking that money. I mean, this is some of the cheapest debt you can take on in the world to finance this project. They've shown us a stack that could really finance the entire project. And ultimately, what we need to do now is look at the next steps of how this material is going to onshore into the U.S., which is a huge market. And XM and other U.S. arms, whether it be the military complex or U.S. automotive, are very, very supportive of bringing in material from Brazil and from Lithium Ion. So really a huge pat on the back to us from a group that is very, very keen to get our material.
Sounds good. We'll have a more formal, long-form interview in the coming weeks, but I just wanted to check in with you. It sounds great. Good to see the stock ticking up at the start of the year, and also lithium prices. Let's hope it continues.
Yeah,
see you in your Blake.
Appreciate it.
Okay, and we're here with Alicia Milne to talk about Q2 Metals. So you're here at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. and you had a breakfast with some 50 attendees. Just give us an update. You had a press release out, I think, today.
Yep.
Tell us, this Quebec hard rock story, major discovery. You had mentioned in the Lithium Bull, I think you were up, I don't know, 300 or 400% last year. So you can still make money even in a bear market if you make a discovery, which you have. So what's in store?
What's in store? Well, I'm at VRIC right now, but we also have a booth over at the Roundup, the AME Roundup conference. We're in the core shack there. And we announced today that we're starting winter drilling in a week and a half, I believe it is. So the crews are going to mob out there following Roundup and get started and get drilling. So we have 6,000 to 8,000 meters planned with 2 drills. One will start anticipating February 1st, with the second one coming online a couple days after. And just drilling, continuing to step out on 200-meter intervals and seeing what we have, keep testing the additional air props that we never got to in the summertime.
But you'll have drill results in between now and PDAC, I guess, in March?
Hopefully. I mean, if the labs are
fast enough,
running fastly. We'll start issuing visual results like we did this past year. So once we start drilling, maybe get a hole or 2 in and then start issuing visual, because you can actually see it coming out in the pegmatite. So what we're seeing with the geologists and their logging is what they're estimating percentage-wise for spodumene content is pretty much coming in. I'd say almost bang on what we're getting back from the labs for the actual assays. So we're pretty excited about getting started.
In the heart of the EU-ISCHI, James Bay region of Quebec, Canada, an exciting new chapter in lithium exploration is unfolding. Q2 Metals' Cisco lithium property sits in the mineral-rich Frotet-Evans Greenstone Belt, 150 kilometers north of the mining town of Matagami. We're part of an established lithium district surrounded by multiple world-class discoveries and deposits that validate the region's potential. With the Billy Diamond Highway and a planned railway expansion less than 10 kilometers away, Q2 Metals is perfectly positioned for development. Drilling on the project has focused on just a fraction of the almost 40,000 hectare land package, which remains highly prospective for additional new discoveries. Within this extensive property, our main area of interest currently covers an impressive 1.9 by 1.5 kilometer footprint, where we've identified 23 spodumene pegmatite zones. Our 2024 drill campaign was transformative. Across 17 holes and over 6,300 meters, every drill hole intercepted spodumene-bearing pegmatite. Starting from surface and extending to over 400 meters depth, mineralization remains open in multiple directions. Our standout results tell the story. A remarkable 347.1 meters intersection, grading 1.35% lithium oxide in drill hole 21. 215.6 meters of 1.69% lithium oxide, including a high-grade zone of 2.29% over 64.6 meters in drill hole 18. 120.3 meters, grading 1.72% lithium oxide in drill hole 10. These results place Cisco among North America's premier lithium discoveries. As we advance toward resource definition, comprehensive metallurgical testing and environmental studies are underway, laying the groundwork for responsible development. Q2 Metals isn't just exploring for lithium, we're helping build the foundation for tomorrow's clean energy infrastructure. Under the leadership of President-CEO Alicia Milne and Vice President of Exploration Neil McCallum, our experienced team has an acute focus on progressing and de-risking the project through operational execution, environmental stewardship, and community partnership. Be part of our journey as we advance the district-scale potential of the Cisco lithium property. Q2 Metals, charging towards tomorrow. Learn more about our story at q2metals.com.
Okay, we're here with Ivan Bebek at Coppernico, copper story in Peru. One of the stories I've been talking with for the past kind of couple of months, because Ivan I knew when he had a Western African gold story called Keegan Resources a number of years ago. So tell us about Coppernico, a little bit about your background, Ivan, and just in 90-second quickly why we should care.
Sure. So I've been in business for 25 years. Found a 5 million ounce gold mine in Ghana, West Africa, Keegan Resources. Stock went from 10 cents to $9 per share. Then I created a company called Caden, where we drilled 100 holes in Mexico. Company got bought out by Agnico Eagle at $3.60 per share. If you own shares net today, it's $11 per share. That gave me the appetite to go find major mines around the world. Spent 10 years, the other half of my career, pursuing a copper asset in Peru. We have some of the largest mines in the world. This copper exploration property is a direct analog to Las Bambas, which is the 11th largest producing copper mine in the world. So after 9 years pursuing this project, we finally bought online. We're finally drilling. We're drilling our 14th hole. We're chasing to mine that could provide 100 years of copper supply at a time that copper is going into deficit in terms of supply and demand. It's the first year that demand is going to outpace supply in the copper space. So we're very bullish in copper. It's the chance for a world-class copper discovery. 10 years have been spent, about $40 million to get this conversation. We're on our 14th hole and let's try and figure out what the geometry of what this big system could entail.
Awesome. Thanks for that. And hopefully we could have you on with a more detailed conversation to go into greater detail. All right. Thanks, Ivan.
Thank you.
All right. We're here at the end of the VLIC conference, but with my gracious host and great friend, Jay Shemalaskis, where I've been staying and skied in Whistler a couple of days ago, but we've been reminiscing a lot, known each other for, I think, as long as Arc Equity's been in business, 23 years. So we worked together, Jay, building one of the largest gold mines in China, Jinshan Gold Mines, now part of China Gold International. And then that was sold, and you immediately pivoted with Ed Flood to talk about Nevada Claystone, which was the Kings Valley project, which is now the Thacker Pass project, but you also initiated the merger.
Lithium Claystone.
It was Lithium Claystone. You had big success. It's now been funded, $3 billion. Thacker Pass is going into production, and Cauchari Olaroz is in production as well. So you have, I guess, 3 mines, right? 2 lithium ones, in production, but you've turned your attention 5 years ago to copper. So let's talk about Camino and what you've been doing, and the partnerships you have with Denim Capital and the Japanese.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Howard. So, ultimately, our strategy is to build the right assets at the right time of the commodity market, and then pick the right commodity at the right time. We think it's copper now because if you move to electrification on the demand side story, but also on the supply side of the story, the world needs more copper sources. So what we're doing at Camino is we've identified a fully permitted for construction copper asset, Holocuquios asset in Chile, which we're purchasing from Denim Capital with our partners Lithium Mining. And then we are also continuing to drill a high-grade copper asset, or RCG asset called Los Chiquitos in Peru, which we think will become the next mine after Cuquios. So it's a 2-asset story in terms of development and exploration. We're at the VRIC conference here in Vancouver on January the 20th, and this week we start drilling here. So we're quite excited about our portfolio over the next year in 2025. It's going to be very active on the development front and drilling front, and we're excited about the market for copper.
Awesome. All right. To be continued. Hope to have you on a more fulsome interview, but just wanted to highlight for all of our viewers a couple of companies that I've been looking at as we start 2025, and it is Inauguration Day. Trump was inaugurated today, and there was a bunch of optimism coming out of that, and hopefully this conference actually had a lot of optimism around it, and it was very well attended, standing room only at a number of the speeches or presentations that we saw. So anyway, great talking to you, and follow Camino, COR.V. Okay, it's now Thursday, January 23rd. I returned from Vancouver and this great conference, and catching up with a number of other stories that we've had on Rockstock channel, including the metals company. Craig Shesky, the CFO, is licking his wounds as Ohio State beat his favored, Notre Dame. There was no Michigan, this year, but JD Vance, I'm sure, was very happy about that, as probably was Vivek Ramaswamy. But the incoming Trump administration seems to be very positive for the metals company. Cantor Fitzgerald, your banker who took you public, Howard Lutnick, is now at the Department of Commerce. So just the stock's up 50%. Craig, just just give us some comments, in 90 seconds, what to look out for in 2025.
Yeah, no, appreciate chatting with you, Howard and Rodney. And I think the year ahead is going to be very momentous, where not only are we going to have our PFS out very soon, and you'll see a very viable lower quartile project for nickel, copper, cobalt, and manganese through these polymetallic nodules, of which we have 1.6 billion tons of this resource sitting on top of the Clarion-Clipperton Zone in the Pacific. So not only is it big, not only is the technology proven to collect it and process it, but now you have an administration in the U.S. that has the desire and wherewithal to push this industry forward. You already saw, even from the Biden administration, the signing of the National Defense Authorization Act, which is calling for a feasibility study on a refinery for nodules within the U.S., and that study to be delivered in 2025. Now I think you're going to see much more explicit support from many of our allies. You mentioned Vivek at Doge. Well, we know a lot of the people in that office very well. We know Elise Stefanik, who's now the UN ambassador, who's already a nodule champion. Marco Rubio, who's a nodule champion, taking over as Secretary of State. So we feel very confident that the U.S. is going to continue to prioritize this industry and push it forward, which makes sense because even back in the 1970s, there was a lot of U.S. pioneering companies like Lockheed Martin and U.S. Steel that developed the technology to do this. So now 50 years later, we are just dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So this isn't some future industry decades away. This is a few years away. And now is the time for the U.S. to take advantage of it. And we think that they will.
Sounds good, Craig. Thanks for that update. And you could follow Craig, at the metals company, I think .com. It is a Vancouver-based company, so it is connected to, it is listed in the New York Stock Exchange, but was based in Vancouver. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to catch up with you guys when I was there. But anyway, thanks for that, and look forward to an exciting 2025.
Thanks a lot, Howard.